My name is Radha, and this is my entry for the Jamie Oliver search for a FoodTube star with the Uncle Ben competition. Our dish today is featuring basmati rice, but we are drawing from a particular dish in Egypt called koshari. It's basically a pilaf, and yet this one is a post-Persian pilaf. I always start with coating the pan with olive oil, a good amount. And we're going to add the rice right in, and we want to coat every single grain of rice with the olive oil in the pan. I'm using pink salt, sea salt is fine, a teaspoon of cracked black pepper, as well as a few bay leaves. I use 4 or 5 because the ones I get aren't very flavorful, but one may do it for you. So each grain is coated now in the salt and the pepper and the olive oil, and we want to add in the water. The secret is to let most of the water absorb without putting a lid on it until craters form. I'm going to put a lid on it and drop the heat as low as possible. That's the key. So let's do the lentils now. 1 cup of brown lentils, a heaping tablespoon of paprika and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon and 2 teaspoons of salt. And what makes up for the lack of animal fat is olive oil. They need 10-12 minutes to really get boiling. And here's 1.5 cups of orzo pasta. As soon as you pour it in, do not put the lid back on and immediately stir it. You'll need to check it. It'll be done in 2 minutes instead of often what it says, 9 or 10. So I'm using 3 onions. Everything on this planet has a life of its own, including onions. You should treat everything that you cook with ultimate love, especially vegetables. Just a touch of salt, which will also keep them soft, and we'll stir in that salt. The rice is done. Now it just needs to sit and steam by itself. Cut the heat. You want to add just a little bit of olive oil because if not, it will stick. And the tiniest little pinch of salt. And you can stir. Slide it into a small bowl so it's easy to assemble when we do the final bringing together of the dish. I've already washed this beautiful bushy cilantro. Let's just run our knife through it. Even the stems we're not going to chop fine. We're just going to keep it rough. The lentils need a little love and attention. 3 garlic cloves, and since they've been cracked open, they'll seep out their flavors. You can dump them in whole. And then we're going to add the juice of 2 limes. If I put my lime juice directly onto the finished rice dish with the cilantro, it's going to turn the cilantro brown. And put the lid back on. Our onions are done. If I cook them too much, they're going to reduce to such a small size that you won't be able to enjoy them fully, and we still want them to have great texture, because in a way they're replacing the meat. Let's check in with our beautiful friend, the basmati rice. This is the moment to take out the bay leaves that have floated perfectly to the surface. I used to think that that was a cute thing to do, you know, like a rustic effect, to let people pick out their own bay leaves, until I ate one. It's cruel and unusual punishment. Now, run your fork through the basmati to make sure every grain has its own individual existence. But leave it uncovered so that it can air out and even dry out slightly before we combine all the final elements in the dish. The rice first, next the lentils, and now comes the royal ingredient of the dried cherries. It's about 250 grams, and just make slow, gentle moves so you don't break up the beautiful grains of the rice. Our orzo, blackened onions, and finally the cilantro or fresh coriander. It needs a little bit more wetness that we're going to take directly from the lentils. It's like the gravy. Cut the heat and bring her over. so we can dress your cool and creamy yogurt. A beautiful flavored oil. You could do a lemon oil or even an orange oil. And finally, a pinch of chili flake. Voila. Post-Persian pilaf is finished. Enjoy.